Hello and welcome to English Spark Official. I'm Zayden, joined as always by Alara.
Hey everyone! We're so excited about today's topic.
So, if you want to learn a new language fast, well, the absolute worst thing you can do is just sit down and study grammar.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
I mean, today we are taking a deep dive into this leaked, highly specific instruction manual, and it basically proves that the fastest path to speaking smoothly isn't a textbook at all.
Right. It's actually a casual conversation like you would have at a coffee shop.
Exactly. So, welcome to today's deep dive, everyone. Our mission today is to look at this very special instruction manual.
Yeah, we are examining a document called the DNTU Fluency Jump Podcast Scripting Blueprint.
Which is a bit of a mouthful, right?
It really is.
Yeah.
But it's basically the secret system behind a study guide from a channel called English Spark Official.
And the crazy thing is, this blueprint challenges almost everything we learned in school about how the human brain actually learns a new language.
Completely flips it upside down.
Right. And I think the word blueprint is just the perfect place to start because, well, imagine you are building a house.
Okay, building a house.
Yeah, you cannot just go to the store, buy a giant pile of wood, throw it on the ground, and expect a house to magically appear.
I mean, you could try, but it wouldn't go well.
No, it would be a disaster. You need a drawing. You need a plan that shows exactly where the front door goes, where the windows go, how the walls stand up.
Right, the exact measurements.
Exactly. That detailed drawing, that plan, is a blueprint. And today's source material is essentially a blueprint for building the perfect language lesson.
Yeah, it tells the creators exactly what to say
Ah.
and how to sound, even when to pause.
It leaves absolutely nothing to chance.
No, every single minute of the lesson is designed to, well, trick the brain into learning without feeling tired.
Which is brilliant. And, because this blueprint is all about teaching English to people who are still learning, we are making a very specific choice for our conversation today.
A really important choice.
We are going to talk about these high-level psychological ideas, sure, but we will use very simple, easy, everyday words.
No overly complicated vocabulary.
Right. If there are big words, we are going to explain them slowly. We want every single person listening to you and me to follow the logic perfectly.
And honestly, using simple words is better anyway. It forces us to explain the ideas clearly.
Exactly. We don't hide behind confusing terms. We just, look at how the mind works.
So let's open this blueprint up and see who it's actually for.
Let's do it. So looking at the document, it states very clearly that the target audience is English learners at the A2 to B2 level.
Right. And specifically, learners who currently live in English-speaking places.
Which is a really interesting detail. But let's break down those levels first. A2 to B2.
Yeah, those letters and numbers are important markers. An A2 learner isn't a total beginner.
Right. They're not starting from zero.
No, not at all. If you're at an A2 level, well, you can walk into a cafe, order a coffee, and pay for it.
You can ask for directions to the train station.
Exactly. You know the basics.
Yeah.
But, and this is the hard part, if the person at the cafe suddenly starts telling a fast, funny story about their dog, you feel totally lost.
You just kind of nod and smile.
Yeah, you're just nodding, but inside you're like, wait, what dog?
Right. And then you have B2, and B2 is the level where you finally feel comfortable.
You've made it to the other side.
Yeah. At B2, you actually understand that funny story about the dog. You can laugh at the joke naturally.
You can watch a movie without staring at every single subtitle.
Exactly. Right. So the people listening to this guide, the ones this blueprint is for, they are caught right in the middle of those two experiences.
And remember, they live in cities like London or New York or Sydney.
Right. They hear English on the bus, in the supermarket, at work, every single day.
Which means they feel this immense pressure. Because when you live in a country and you don't speak the language smoothly yet, every day just feels like a test.
Oh, for sure. You feel stressed when your phone rings.
Just a ringing phone causes panic. You want to jump to that comfortable B2 level as fast as humanly possible.
And that is exactly why the plan is called the 8-week fluency jump.
Right, fluency jump.
Which, fluency is such a common goal. Everyone says, I want to be fluent. But I love how this blueprint treats fluency. It treats it like riding a bicycle.
That is a perfect everyday example. Riding a bike.
Think about the very first time you tried to ride a bike. It is a terrifying experience.
Oh, absolutely terrifying.
You have to think about every tiny single movement. You're thinking, okay, keep my hands straight, push down with my left foot.
Don't lean too far to the side. Look forward.
Yes. Your brain is working so incredibly hard just to stay balanced.
And because you are thinking so hard, your movements are all shaky.
Right. You fall down, you start, you stop.
And that's exactly what speaking a new language feels like in the beginning. You think about every single word before you say it.
You're worried about the past tense or the future tense.
It just feels really bumpy.
But eventually you'll learn how to ride. You jump on the seat and you just pedal.
You don't even think about it.
No. You look at the sky, you talk to your friend who's riding right next to you, and you don't think about your feet at all.
Your body just knows what to do.
And that is fluency. You just open your mouth and the words come out without that painful thinking process.
And the bold claim of this blueprint is that word jump. Going from that shaky, scary stage to riding smoothly in just 8 weeks.
8 weeks. Which promises a massive change in a very short time.
A huge change.
But here's where the blueprint really surprised me, though.
Oh.
Yeah. If the goal is a super fast jump, 8 weeks to fluency, the instructions say the teachers must move very, very slowly.
Right. That's a key part of the plan.
They must start with easy words and only increase the difficulty a tiny, tiny bit at a time. And I have to push back on this because this feels like a contradiction.
How so?
Well, think about it. If I go to the gym and I want really big muscles in just 8 weeks, I don't lift a feather.
No, you'd lift weights.
Right, I lift the heaviest weights I can possibly find. So if a student wants to learn fast, why wouldn't the blueprint just give them all the hardest words on day 1? Teach them everything fast.
It seems logical, right, to push hard for fast results. But the researchers behind the DNTU study, they deeply understand how adult brains react to stress.
Okay.
So going back to your gym analogy, if you go to the gym and you try to lift a car on your very first day, your muscles don't get bigger.
No, they break.
Exactly. They break, you get hurt, you are in pain, and you stop going to the gym entirely.
You just quit.
Right. And the brain works the exact same way with language.
So wait, if you give an A2 learner a long speech full of really difficult words, their brain just breaks.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
It shuts down. The cognitive load just becomes way too heavy.
Interesting.
Because when a learner hears too many words they don't understand, they don't feel challenged. They feel stupid.
Oh, wow.
And when an adult feels stupid, their brain actually releases stress chemicals. They stop listening. They turn off the audio.
They quit. And
Yeah.
obviously, you can't jump to fluency if you quit on wet 2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just can't. So the slow, careful increase in difficulty is actually a psychological trick. Yeah. The blueprint specifically commands that any hard word must be explained naturally in the conversation.
So they never feel lost.
Right. The listener never have to pause and look in a dictionary. They never feel confused or left behind. And this creates a feeling of total safety.
Safety.
Yes. Because when the brain feels safe, it actually absorbs information incredibly fast.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that feeling of safety is the actual engine that makes the 8-week jump possible.
I really love that concept. Psychological safety equals speed.
Yes.
Because you just can't learn if you're in a panic state.
No, your brain is just focusing on survival at that point.
Right. And the blueprint builds this safety net primarily through the voices of the hosts. It doesn't just let anyone read the script.
Oh, definitely not. The podcast style requirements section is incredibly strict about who is talking.
Let's talk about that because there must be exactly 2 hosts, right?
Exactly two.
Yeah.
A man named Zayden and a woman named Delara.
And their tone is very strictly defined. Like they need to be between 20 and 30 years old. They have to sound modern and casual and friendly.
Yeah, they aren't wearing suits,
No, they're wearing jeans. They sound like people you'd just meet at a party.
which is a very deliberate move away from traditional education models.
But wait, let's hang on a second and think about that traditional model.
Okay.
Because when we think of serious learning, especially a strict step-by-step plan, like an 8-week jump, we usually picture, well, an older, serious professor.
Right. Someone with gray hair.
Yeah, standing in a big university hall wearing a tweed jacket, speaking with absolute authority. Why wouldn't a serious 8-week jump use a serious, authoritative voice?
Because of that safety principle we just discussed. An authoritative professor creates distance.
Distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are the master and you are the student. And that immediately creates pressure to be perfect.
Oh, I see.
It's the difference between learning math from a heavy, boring textbook versus learning math from a really smart friend over coffee.
Oh, that's a great analogy. The textbook is dry. It just gives you the cold rules.
Right. But your friend sits next to you, draws a picture on a napkin, maybe makes the joke, and suddenly the math makes perfect sense.
And you didn't feel any stress at all.
Exactly. In fact, the blueprint literally states in all capital letters, not robotic, not textbook.
Wow, capital letters.
Yeah. The DNTU study results prove that human-like casual conversation creates the absolute best environment for the brain to acquire language.
We acquire language best when we feel like we are just hanging out with friends.
Yes, we absorb it naturally.
To make sure Zayden and Alara actually sound like real friends, the blueprint gives them strict conversation rules.
Very strict rules.
Like, they have to share the speaking time equally. One person can't just dominate the show.
Right.
But more interestingly, they are actually required to interrupt each other.
Yeah, which is so funny because in a formal classroom, interrupting is bad manners. You wait until the teacher finishes speaking entirely.
Right. You raise your hand.
Exactly.
But in real life, if we are excited about a topic, I'm going to jump in right before you finish your sentence just to agree with you.
Or to add a thought.
Right. It shows active listening. It shows energy. If Zayden is telling a story, Alara might jump in and say, wait, really?
Which keeps the conversation feeling alive and moving.
The blueprint also mandates light humor and agreement.
Yes. They shouldn't be arguing angrily. They are a team, and they're guiding the listener together.
And there is a hard rule against monologues.
Oh, a very hard rule.
And a monologue, just to be clear, is when one person talks alone for a really long time.
Yeah. Nothing puts a listener to sleep faster than a 5-minute monologue.
The listener's brain just totally turns off.
It does. So we have this safe, friendly environment built. Zayden and Alara are our friendly coffee shop guides.
Right.
But just being friendly isn't quite enough to cause a massive jump in fluency.
No, you need some actual mechanics in there.
Exactly. The blueprint also requires specific tools to force the listener's brain to stay awake.
And these are listed under the listening and learning features section, right?
Yes. The creators have to build in interactive moments completely naturally.
Because when people listen to deep dives or audio shows, they are almost always doing something else.
Oh, always. They're driving a car, cooking dinner, maybe walking the dog.
It's very easy for the audio to just become background noise.
Right. You hear the voices, but you aren't actually listening to the words anymore. You're thinking about your grocery list.
To fight this, the blueprint uses something called listening focus cues.
Yes.
The instructions actually tell Zayden and Alara to use very simple phrases like, listen carefully to this.
Which is such a smart trick. Because that phrase acts like a gentle alarm clock for the brain.
It really does. If I'm chopping vegetables and stressing about my workday, and suddenly my friendly guide says, listen carefully to how Alara answers this, my brain snaps right to attention.
It pulls you right back into the room.
I stop thinking about work. I focus on the audio. It's just a tiny trick, but it stops the learner from drifting away.
It forces active participation.
Right.
And speaking of active participation, the ultimate form of that in this blueprint is a technique called shadowing.
Oh, shadowing.
Yes.
Yeah.
The instructions make shadowing practice totally mandatory.
Shadowing is just a brilliant tool. And to explain it, well, think about what happens when you are driving in your car and your absolute favorite song comes on the radio.
Oh, you turn it up?
You turn up the volume and you start singing along.
Naturally.
But you don't just read the lyrics in a flat, boring voice. You try to copy the singer perfectly.
Right. You try to sound exactly like them.
If they hit a high note, you try to hit a high note. If they sing softly and quietly, you sing softly. You essentially become their shadow.
You're matching their rhythm, their tone, their emotion. You are mimicking the natural music of their voice.
And that is exactly what shadowing is in language learning.
Yes.
You don't just read English words silently off a page. You listen to a native speaker and you literally copy the way they say the sentence out loud.
You copy where their voice goes up and where it goes down.
It trains your mouth to physically move in new ways.
Because reading quietly in a room doesn't build fluency at all. You have to physically move the muscles in your face and your throat.
Right.
Shadowing forces you to practice the physical act of speaking, but without having to stress about what words to choose. The words are already given to you.
And because the blueprint says this exercise is mandatory, we actually have to do it right now.
Oh, we do. The instructions demand a practice moment.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
So for everyone listening to us right now, wherever you are, we are going to try a quick shadowing exercise. I'm going to say a short sentence, then I will pause. During that pause, I want you to repeat the sentence out loud.
Try to match the voice, the speed, and the energy exactly.
I will act as the guide, and you act as the listener's shadow to show them how it works.
Sounds perfect.
Here we go. Repeat after me. I am learning to speak smoothly.
I am learning to speak smoothly.
Great. If you did that out loud at home, you just did exactly what the DNTU study recommends.
You literally just took a step toward that fluency jump.
It feels a little silly at first, right? Sitting in your kitchen talking to your phone or a speaker. But those physical mouth movements are the absolute secret.
So true. So we have the friendly hosts, we have the psychological safety, the wake-up cues, and the shadowing.
Right, all the pieces are there.
But the next challenge the blueprint solves is how to organize all of these pieces without completely confusing the learner.
The structure.
Yes.
Yes.
The document is very, very strict about the structure of the audio.
It says a lesson must be between 20 and 25 minutes long.
And that specific time limit is totally intentional.
Not 10 minutes, not an hour.
Right. It's long enough to fully explain a real concept, but it's short enough that the adult brain doesn't get exhausted and just quit.
And inside those 20 minutes, there is a very clear map that Zayden and Alara have to follow.
Step by step.
It starts with a hook.
Which is crucial.
Yeah. In a deep dive or a show like this, a hook is a quick, interesting thought designed to catch your attention immediately.
So they don't start by talking about the weather or saying, "Welcome to episode 4. We hope you had a good weekend."
No, they start with a problem or a really surprising fact to just pull you right in.
Exactly. Catch the brain right away.
After the hook, they greet the listener and they mention the channel name, English Spark Official.
It creates a nice, familiar routine.
Then the lesson breaks into two main parts: the core explanation and the deep dive explanation.
The core explanation is the basic idea, the foundation.
Right. To picture this, think about swimming in a pool. The core explanation is the shallow end of the pool.
Where your feet can touch the bottom.
Exactly. You feel completely safe. Zayden and Alara introduce a new phrase or a new idea in the shallow water where nobody can drown.
It's very gentle.
But once the learner understands the basic idea, the hosts guide them into the deep dive.
Right. They swim out to the deep end of the pool.
The water is over your head here. This is where they show how the English phrase is used in real, messy, daily life.
Where it gets a little complicated.
It's a little more difficult, yes, but because Zayden and Alara are right there with you, essentially holding your hand, you still feel safe.
You're in deep water, but you aren't drowning.
But here's the most critical instruction in the entire instruction section.
Oh, the blending rule.
Yes, the blending rule. The blueprint actually calls it out in bold letters. Do not label sections explicitly.
Which means Zayden and Alara cannot say, "Okay, everyone, that was the core explanation. Now let's move to step 3, the deep dive."
No, they can't do that at all.
Because if they do that, it sounds exactly like a school test.
It breaks the illusion.
It totally shatters the illusion of the casual coffee shop conversation.
Right. It's like watching a really good movie. When you sit down to watch a movie, words don't suddenly pop up on the screen saying, "Now it's time for the sad scene. Next, we will show the car chase."
That would ruin the movie.
Completely. The story just flows naturally. The music gets quiet, the lighting changes a bit, and you just naturally feel the sad scene happening.
Then the music speeds up and boom, you're right in the middle of the car chase.
The lesson must flow exactly like that.
So the hosts move from the shallow water to the deep water, then straight into a real-life example, then into the shadowing homework, and finally to a happy closing line.
And they do all of this in a smooth, continuous conversation.
The listener never even sees the blueprint.
They just enjoy the ride. The blending rule hides all the machinery.
It's incredibly clever. The learner just thinks they're listening to a fun chat between friends, but secretly, they're being guided through a highly engineered learning path.
It really is brilliant.
It is. But, the blueprint doesn't just tell the creators what to do.
Right. There's the other side of it.
The final section is actually a list of strict warnings. The avoid list.
The danger zone.
Yes. These are the mistakes that will instantly destroy that feeling of safety we talked about and completely ruin the fluency jump.
And the very first warning on that list is a hard ban on complex academic jargon.
Yes. The blueprint explicitly says to avoid jargon without a clear explanation.
Now, jargon is basically the enemy of casual learning.
Totally.
Every profession has its own jargon. It's basically the secret vocabulary that only the experts understand.
Right. Like if a doctor talks to you in a hospital and uses complicated medical jargon, you feel entirely lost.
They might just be explaining a simple cold, but because they use big Latin words, you feel confused and honestly a bit scared.
Or if a computer programmer starts talking about, algorithms, back-end servers, and data compiling.
A normal person just tunes out immediately.
Because that language is designed for a special club.
And when a teacher uses academic jargon to teach a language, it makes the student feel like they don't belong in the club.
It creates an instant wall between the host and the listener.
So Zayden and Alara are absolutely forbidden from sounding like grammar professors.
If they absolutely have to use a technical word, they must explain it immediately in plain English.
Just like we did with the word jargon.
Exactly. Keep it simple. The guide also bans robotic, repetitive phrasing.
Meaning they can't say the exact same thing every single time.
Right. Saying the exact same instruction in the exact same tone every single time makes the hosts sound like machines, not friends.
Human beings vary their speech.
We do. We change it up.
But the final warning on the avoid list is the one that really challenges how we think about education.
Oh, the grammar rule.
The blueprint strictly forbids using difficult grammar beyond the B2 level.
It puts a hard ceiling on grammar instruction.
And this is just a radical idea for traditional language teachers.
Extremely radical. In a normal classroom, advanced grammar is the ultimate goal.
Teachers spend weeks making students memorize things like the past, perfect, continuous tense.
They give tests on complex sentence structures. It's endless.
It's exhausting. But this blueprint says, stop, don't teach advanced grammar at all, don't go past the B2 level.
Period.
But why? Why would a study that promises a massive jump in fluency tell teachers to just ignore advanced grammar?
Because perfection is the actual enemy of fluency.
Oh, yeah. Perfection is the enemy.
Yes, we have to go back to the bicycle analogy to understand this.
Okay, the bike.
If you're riding your bike and you suddenly start looking down at the gears,
Oh, yeah.
trying to understand exactly how the metal chain connects to the wheel and how the mechanics work while you're pedaling, you're going to crash into a tree.
You're going to fall right over.
Exactly. When a learner tries to use highly complex grammar in a normal daily conversation, their brain freezes.
They overthink it.
They open their mouth to speak, but then they stop. They think, wait, is this the right verb form? Did I mix up my conditional tenses?
And while they are thinking about those rules, the conversation just dies.
Complete silence. The other person is just staring at them, waiting for a sentence.
The learner gets embarrassed, their stress levels spike, and they just stay silent.
The DNTU study realizes that fluency is about flow. It's not about perfection.
Flow over perfection.
A B2 level of grammar is honestly enough to communicate 95% of everything you will ever need to say in daily life.
You can work, you can go on a date, you can argue with someone, and you can make jokes using just B2 grammar.
So by limiting the grammar, the blueprint completely removes the fear of making a mistake.
The learner thinks, oh, I already know these basic rules, I don't have to think about them.
And because they aren't thinking about the complex rules, they just open their mouth and speak smoothly.
Keeping the grammar simple gives the learner the confidence to actually use the language.
It keeps them in the safe, shallow water long enough to truly master the physical act of speaking.
Because the confidence creates the fluency, not the complex rules.
It's a complete shift in perspective, isn't it?
It really is. You aren't learning English to pass a written test.
No.
You're learning English to connect with human beings. And human beings connect through relaxed, confident conversation, even if the grammar isn't always 100% perfect.
Which means we've completely unpacked the instructions from the DNTU study.
We have, and it's just a highly engineered document designed to look completely unengineered.
That's the perfect way to summarize it.
Let's pull all these pieces together.
Let's do it.
The 8-week Fluency Jump podcast scripting blueprint basically teaches us that if you want fast results, the learning process cannot be painful.
It cannot feel like work.
If you push too hard with difficult words and complex grammar, the adult brain simply shuts down.
The path to rapid learning absolutely requires psychological safety.
And that safety is built by using friendly voices like Zayden and Alara, guides who treat the learner like an equal, not like a subordinate.
The structure must be perfectly timed, moving from easy concepts to real-world examples.
But the listener should never, ever see the boundaries between those sections. It has to flow like a movie or a natural chat at a cafe.
And tools like shadowing force the learner to physically practice speaking without the stress of choosing the right words.
Everything in this document is designed to keep the learner's brain awake, relaxed, and confident.
It's just an incredible look at how the mind actually acquires a new skill.
It is. And honestly, it makes me think far beyond just learning English.
Oh, absolutely.
The principles in this blueprint apply to almost anything difficult we try to learn in life.
That is the real deeper insight here. The blueprint reveals a fundamental truth about human psychology.
Which is?
We master difficult skills best when we remove the academic pressure entirely and treat the process like a natural human interaction.
Because we usually think that to achieve something great, we have to suffer for it.
Right. No pain, no gain.
Yeah, we think we have to lock ourselves in a quiet room with a heavy book and just struggle. But the study says the exact opposite.
The fastest growth happens when we feel relaxed and supported.
So if this friendly conversational approach is the proven secret to a rapid language jump, we should really ask ourselves how we handle all our other goals.
That is a great thought to leave with today.
Think about something difficult you're trying to learn right now. Maybe it's a complicated new software program at work.
Or maybe how to cook a really difficult meal.
Or even how to manage your finances and invest your money. Are you treating that goal like a strict professor with a boring textbook?
Are you punishing yourself for not being perfect immediately?
What would happen if you changed your blueprint?
What could you master in the next 8 weeks if you stopped stressing over the complex rules and started treating the learning process like a casual, fun conversation with a good friend?
Something to really chew on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. Keep learning, keep jumping, and we will catch you next time.